Good morning. It's technically afternoon now. Let's be honest. And I haven't taken this off. It is Friday, December 18th. Feeling very on edge and reactive the last few days, particularly today. Like I mentioned, whenever that was yesterday, I think patterns are starting to be brought to the surface to die. One of them is being very reactive and snippy. Very Midwestern way of saying malicious. I'm sure coffee probably doesn't help. I'm doing a fast besides this coffee today. Maybe through the next few days, like a 3-day liquid diet. Reset my gut. Pretty Robin just landed outside. You know, I never really liked birds all that much growing up. The last year, I just am fascinated by them. I need more time in nature. I desire, and I do think need, more time outside, even though it's cold. The cold is beautiful. I'm pretty coddled against it. I'm pretty sensitive to it. I get pretty shivery, and I have pretty poor circulation in my fingies and toes. My hands, my fingers turn white, like yellow. They have poor circulation, so when it's cold, they're the first to go. My new planner came in the mail yesterday, which I'm very excited about. I'm excited to look back at this year and jot down the lessons that I want to take moving forward, and what I want to leave behind, and what I want to manifest for next year. I've been getting the same planner this will be my 5th year using Ink and Volt. I'll show you what it looks like. This is this year's. It's green. And I like it because, I mean, none of these are perfect to me. What I like about this one is at the beginning of the year, you're encouraged to come up with a theme and some overall goals. What do you want to start, stop, and continue? What you want to have, be, and do. I really like that. And each week, there's a weekly goals. And it has a review section where you're supposed to review annual, monthly, last week's progress. And then there's also 30-day challenges or monthly challenges, which as someone who likes to integrate habits, typically month by month, sometimes week by week, but usually it's month by month. It's a great way to build and stack habits without going overboard and trying to overhaul everything all at once, which I have done before a few times. And there's a reflect and celebrate section and plenty of notes. What would I add to this? If I could add something to this. Oh yeah, there's a year review. looking back at the year. Did you embody the values you wanted to this year? That's awesome. I love that. What are you the most proud of? What's the best thing that happened? Highlights, what didn't go well? And then your achievements. And it encourages you to write them as they happen. And then tons of note space, which I love. If I was going to add to this, what would I add? I'd add daily gratitude. Like what you're grateful for daily. And then I understand if you do daily stuff, that makes this a lot thicker, and then you run into page problems, but you don't necessarily have to. I could see how you just do one page for the week, just an add-on for each week, and just a line, or even monthly, just one add-on monthly. And you just have 30 lines of what you're grateful for. And I do purchase other journals or planners to see if I do want to switch, since I've been committed to this one for so long, and see what I want to pick up from that. So this is James Clear's habit journal. And this would be great if I was just using, this would be okay if I was just using this. It's very, very minimalist. There's just like one line per day for journaling. I used it for my gratitude line. But I've got almost 365 days of gratitude in here now, which is awesome. So that's why I'd want to do that. But then it's all like bullet journaling, basically. You can use it as a bullet journal. It's the majority of this is blank space. And then there's space for habits for each month to tick off if you're a tick off kind of person. So I like that you can see all of it in aggregate. It'd be neat if my Ink and Volt did this all at the very end. Like this, you can see everything side by side for your 30-day challenges. So I'd integrate those two things. What else? So there's another 90X goal planner my friend Casey got for me for my birthday. It was very nice. This is really well made. It's beautiful, but there's some inconsistencies in here that I'm not a huge fan of. I like that it has you repeat and write down what your main goals are and the actions attached to each. I think it could be interesting to break down monthly. What is your vision? Like your vision, strategies, tactics. So you can see the ladder and how everything's connected, and also a place to rank priorities, because this is what I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like specific action steps as they relate to your goals. I like the brain dump sections in here, and how, again, specific actions can be tagged to specific goals. So there's a little space for water in here. You can track your water, which kind of imposes the habit on you. Like this will be one of your habits, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I mean, we all freaking need water. There's a tiny little habit tracker. So it's got some decent points to it, but I will probably, I add little things to my Ink and Volt to make it custom to what I want. I continue to update it every year. It might be neat one time to actually have it created through a company, my version of what an effective planner would look like. Maybe I can produce it myself. There's so much you can do these days, the internet. It's amazing. So got my new planner. It's indigo blue. I wanted the goldenrod one, which this is bizarre, but one of my favorite tarot card readers. My mom and I both really get into tarot readings. One of them, Raji, on her channel, she talked about just randomly, this maybe sounds arbitrary to you, and I'm sure it will be, but for me it made a lot of sense. She talked about a yellow and purple string being cut, or yellow-blue strings being cut. Just kind of out of nowhere said it, and I thought immediately of the two planners I was looking at, the goldenrod one and the indigo one, and they each have a string in them. A string that's the color of the... So I don't know if that was a message for me about plans being cut. I'm gonna watch it again. She talks about each month of 2021 and what to expect, and last year's was, watched it in retrospect, it was pretty damn head on, nail in the head. So I'm gonna go through my new planner, and each month she has a message for me. Make a little note for myself, a little reminder. And one of the words that she had for me this year coming up was, at least for the beginning, was malice. So the fact that I've been feeling snippy because what I'm working out right now, emotionally, physiologically, intellectually, it all feels hard. And well, it can already be challenging for me to express myself, and I don't want to filter myself too much more than I already do. Sometimes my initial reaction to things can be an attitude, can be malicious. Which is frustrating because it doesn't feel like it represents the core of who I am. But it represents part of me that deserves expressing. What else to share? Coming up the weekend, which I'm grateful for. Needed a lot of rest this week. I haven't been moving my body the way that I like to this week. I think that has played a large role in the irritability I feel. I might just call it an early day and go on a run here outside in the cold. Being in the cold is supposed to have antidepressive effects too. So, not all rainbows and sunshine today, and that's that. I am committed to sharing all of it and being with all of it. Last night I wasn't with all of it. I watched The Crown, which I really love. Finally, Princess Diana has come on board, and she is lovely. And I ate enough cookie dough to give me acid reflux last night in my sleep. So, that is why I'm fasting. That is why I'm resetting my gut. I want this reset as this conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter happens on Monday. I want to usher in something new. I don't want more nights like that where I'm eating cookie dough. As aware as I probably could be during it, of what I was avoiding feeling, there's shame there, though. There's shame, and I'm shaming my shame. I like to ask myself, how old do I feel when I do those things? And for me, binge eating, something that I have dealt with and experienced in my adulthood, something that I first started doing in my early 20s in college. I'm still to this day not sure what triggered the beginning of that. I do know that leading up to it, like since I was maybe in 8th grade, I was very image focused, very weight conscious. I think like 100, I remember being 105 to 115 pounds early high school when I was the same height. I was 5'6", and I'm like 135 now. So I wasn't eating enough. And I just remember being very rigorous and diligent about it all throughout high school. And especially when I first got into college, I was exercising a ton. I joined the triathlon team. And then something happened like my junior year. It was my junior year where I really started looking to food for comfort. I don't even remember what the first time was. It was sweets for sure. But it started to become a habit where I would go out and get a stockpile of candy and pastries and pizza. And I would hunker myself in a hole somewhere, sat in front of the TV like so many other people, and just eat until I was uncomfortable, beyond uncomfortable. I wouldn't throw it up. I would try to, a couple times, tried to, just because I was so uncomfortable. But I wasn't never able to do that. I failed as a bulimic. And it's come and gone in different times in my life. And I think part of it, like, what need is being met? I've talked about this a few times before. I can endlessly talk about it because it's still something that's part of my experience and I find fascinating. I mean, there's, of course, physiological effects that keep me coming back to it, but various interims. But from a psychological, emotional level, what do I need when I do that? I'm revisiting it now in real time. Well, it'd be real time if I was sitting there with the cookie dough in my hand or my wallet out about to purchase it. There's a need to, in some ways, a need to feel shame and blame toward myself, because that's what's familiar. So out of that, I gain comfort in the familiarity of it. I know this. I don't have to grapple with the reality of some new frontier where I don't do that anymore. I feel like I get to rebel against some restriction that I put on myself. Always have had an issue with authority, which is why I really want to work for myself. And also the feelings that are underneath, the uncertainty or fear or overwhelm, disappointment, anxiousness. There's a soothing that comes from eating. So I'm sure I'll betcha that my voyage with the cookie dough probably has something to do with my angst that I'm feeling today. There's pretty solid evidence that sugar consumed in high quantities affects your mood. So I'm curious to see how that journey unfolds and at what point it ends. It ends when I decide it will end. And I've thought on many occasions that I've decided when it will end. And it's ended for sometimes years at a time. Think of it almost like an alcoholic. My addiction to sugar. I'd really like that this solstice, this transit that's happening, to be the end of that kind of behavior for me. I really would. Would be the end of that need to feel shame, to see myself as unworthy of something better. Going against my own burgeoning knowledge of health, well-being. I'm gonna usher that in. How about that? That's all I have today, folks. Thanks for being here. I love you all. Bye.